Hey guys, Pete Thompson again with Kalamazoo Chinese Martial Arts Club. Today talking to you a little bit on different methods of training. Um, so there's various ways to train martial arts, all of which I think are valid, but it's very important to know what we're training and why we're training it. So my Sifu always says that there are three methods of practice. There is the performance method, there's the training method, and there's the fighting method. In addition to that, if we are looking at our forms, it's also said that every movement is a lock, a strike, and a throw. And these are things to keep in mind while we're training. So we'll start with the various methods, and then we'll talk a little bit about different ways to apply techniques. So performance method, probably not surprisingly, is kind of a demonstration method, right? So whether it's looking fast and flashy in a forms competition, perfectly fine. If it's exaggerating something so that your student can learn it. Again, there's very real and valid ways to train your performance method. What you don't want is to train performance method thinking you're learning how to fight. All you're doing, empty movements in the air, complicated dance, which isn't bad as long as you know that's what you're doing. Training method, again, is training whether it's to build up your strength, your endurance, various ways to generate power. You might break them apart, break movements apart, work on parts of that movement. Very important for developing whole body power, very important for developing our martial arts, but it might not be the way we're fighting. And then, not surprisingly, fighting method is how you would use the movement in an actual fight or to fight with someone. So again, these three kind of form the three legs of a stool for our martial arts. It's not I do all of one and none of the other. I just do fighting method. If all you do is fighting method, probably you're going to plateau. Working on all of these helps us develop, but again, we need to be cognizant of what we're working on and why. Otherwise, it's very easy to kind of get lost and to think you're working on one thing when you're working on another. So to begin with, when we're learning forms or when we're working on drills, it's almost a form of mimicry. So, I'm just trying to learn that basic movement, that basic technique. Eventually, we want to start making that into our technique. So again, if we're looking at one of the basic movements from horse stance form, we kind of step out into horse stance here, right? That's the cookie cutter technique, right? And if I am trying to look flashy, doing performance, looks very pretty. Maybe I'm using that to exaggerate. Training, I might be sitting lower. I might be trying to build up my legs. Fighting method's going to be a little bit higher. But then we ask, well, fighting method, there's locking, there's striking, there's throwing. But striking down to the midsection, while there's not this hand in the form, could be reaching out, knocking on his door. Looks a little different, right? Cutting down, short issue of power. I'm thinking about throwing. I'm thinking about locking, right? Thinking about locking, probably a longer discharge, right? Here. Going in for that arm bar. Throwing. Maybe again I'm sitting a little deeper. Maybe I'm picking my leg up and cutting down into it, right? all perfectly valid ways to do the form. I'm assuming most of you know the horse stance form I'm talking about. So when we see differentiations between, say, myself, Leon, Malcolm, Brian, whoever, it's not one way's right, one way's wrong. It's what are they working on? Do they know what they're working on? And what's the reason for it? So again, this gets into the point that our forms aren't immutable. We don't have cookie cutter forms. So it's not just etc. Could very well be perfectly fine. Just ask, what am I working on? Thanks. Have a great day.